Hey, Juventini, thanks for joining us on the day after. We're all kind of bummed out, I guess. Hey, Dash, how you feeling?
No, I'm good. I'm okay. I'm totally fine. I'm not upset. I'm not cranky. I'm not gonna throw something through a TV or a window or anything like that. Nah, we're not. We're not that kind of
Did,
YouTube channel here, guys. We vent with our humor.
did you see that tweet? Again, just one of those random tweets I scrolled through after the game, where it was like Juventus-proof televisions, and it was Buddy like beating a television. It was the ones that don't break.
Yeah. That's oh my god, that was hilarious. There was another player, or yeah, it was another one, but it was a different caption. Same video clip, and it was like every time you see Cuadrado touch the ball, and it was literally the guy kicking the unbreakable TV, and I just lost it. It was so funny.
Yeah. So obviously, there's tons of tweets, or whatever, just social media posts all over the place right now post game. I know not everyone follows the stuff. It might be best right now, maybe not too, but it's also fun if you can look at it at least with a bit of banter, I suppose, right? Like have a good time with it at the very least.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think that's one of the things too that like and the thing is like Davide and I don't want to sit here and just be like, oh my god, this club sucks, this management's terrible, Allegri, you stink, you need to go grow hair and blah 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 blah. We always try to find the funniness of the absolute dumpster fire that we're watching right now. So like, hey, sure, if we can take your guys' pain with some jokes and stuff like that, Davide and I have done our job.
Yeah, and if you want events, like I mean, the chat's there. I'm not going to stop you. let's hear it. I mean, that's part of it, right? Maybe we can have some laughs with just feeling each other's pain a little bit, So by all means, have at her.
But we
And
uh we do want to give a quick shout out to Rabona TV because he did project the score line and the absolute way that the game was gonna go down. He actually clipped
yeah,
us and he put us on his channel. So like definitely
yeah,
definitely give him a look. And he tweeted it to us too, and he's like, "Hey guys, don't mean to say I called it, but I called it." And we're just kind
yeah,
of like,
he
"Well
did.
played, sir. Well played." But
Oh
he
man.
unfortunately he did not say Milik Man in his Champions League recap video, so I was a little bit
Oh,
disappointed.
he didn't, because he did tweet that we need to keep it going because I did the whole early delivery from the milkman or
Yep.
milkman, I guess, and he said we need to make that a thing
I
to
know. I'm
catch on.
saying
So I mean, by all
I'm for it.
means, this as dumb as it is, whatever. It's so dumb, but I'm
It
rolling
is.
with it.
It's extremely dumb. But ever since we did it, he just scores, and it's just like, don't stop doing it.
Yeah. So I mean, on top of that, I want to start getting the emojis and stuff. I want a milkman emoji. We can't do that
Yeah.
yet because we haven't hit the whole monetization thing on YouTube. So everyone, this is just the quick advertisement segment of this. Please like and subscribe. We're almost at 500. We're close. We're at 470 right now. At 500, we're gonna give away a shirt to one lucky subscriber. We're gonna do it live sometime after that. We'll announce it. But that is at, and bear with me. I got to do this advertisement. This is for Farhad. But I'm gonna screen share here for a second, and of course, no, there it is. All right, bam, the website. So just so you know what kind of shirts we're talking about, it's these custom made from artist fans. This is all fan made essentially. There's the Mercato's crazy one, the Beppe. So there's all kinds, and there's more coming out. So that's just turngiants.com. Check that out. I mean, support the brand, support the Turn Giants. It's appreciated. It's good stuff. I'm wearing the shirt right now. Dash. I mean, we still haven't got your shirt. No excuses there. I
I'm
mean, we've
not
got to
cool enough.
start.
I
We're
get
getting
it.
shirts in the mail. All right, guys. Hit 500. We're getting shirts in the mail.
I'm not cool enough, guys. That's why. I'm just here for comedic relief.
It's all right. We love the shirt you're in.
I know my blue striped V-neck. Yay!
All right, off the fashion. This is not a fashion channel.
All right,
Okay.
so it's tough getting into this discussion, but we're gonna do it. We're gonna try to be constructive here. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, "Oh my God, Quadrado sucks." Like it's stupid. Like that's not really anything to really help out here. So 2-1 us Benfica with us at the Allianz. We started off great. Milik started off great. Great 7, 8 minutes, and then a decent 20 minutes, and then we kind of faltered. And then it's kind of the same thing where we concede a goal, we get jaded, and then we absolutely forget that we're playing a game. And that's kind of like the summary of the match, where it's like I'm watching it, I'm excited. Like, for example, the first 10, 15 minutes, like you see Bremer, you see Bonucci, you see Danilo, where they're pressing up really high and they're making interceptions and they're catching Benfica off guard. And they catch him off guard. And then, like, for example, that beautiful free kick that Paredes delivered in, Milik absolutely being an aerial menace. Ironically, he actually technically has more open play goals than Vlahovic right now currently, which I did not expect at all. So kudos to Milik for that.
Yeah.
And I do consider it an open play because the free kick wasn't scored directly. It was a free kick played into the box, and Milik still had to get his head on it. So kudos to Milik for that. I mean, technically, you would have back-to-back goals, or almost. He's been scoring in almost every single game, minus the Salernitana debacle. But Milik is an absolute beast right now as far as an aerial threat. I mean, you put anything in the box, he's going for it.
He's put a
So
ball in the net, allowed
yeah,
or disallowed, regardless. He's put a ball in the net every
yeah,
single game he's shown up.
yeah. So personally, it's not a jab at Vlahovic, but I think Vlahovic should take some notes from Milik as far as aerial presence in the box, because I've heard the argument where people can say that, like, oh, Vlahovic isn't getting any service or blah blah blah. Like, if you guys watch the recap or the replay of that Milik goal, Vlahovic was literally right behind Milik, and like Milik jumped for it, and Vlahovic was kind of running and looking at it to see what the heck was going on. I think Vlahovic does need to improve his aerial game. I think that's one thing that Milik has that's really good, is Milik's aerial game is phenomenal. Like, the
Yeah.
fact that he's able to, and like, you guys look at it too, it kind of glistened off his forehead and went into the bottom corner, and it's just like
It was
Anatoly.
sexy.
Yeah, just like Anatoly said, it's like Mandzukic back in the year, like back in the day. Because, like, you guys are, like Mandzukic, that's a really great comparison to Milik, is like a
Yeah.
Mandzukic, because like Mandzukic was not a sexy striker,
No.
and it's like Milik isn't sexy either, but like Milik just gets it in.
And
Like,
that's the attractiveness of it, though, is how efficient it is.
yeah, it's incredible. But overall, it, my thoughts are, it's rinse and repeat. There hasn't really been anything new per se from what we've seen, and the thing is like, how to go on from here, because I'll talk about like the 3-5-2 and all that other stuff, but realistically, and coincidentally that is number 10's question, how can we improve realistically? There's a multitude of problems with the squad. So, like, the thing is like, I support the club through and thin. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, why the hell am I a Juventus fan or a Juventini and blah, blah, blah. No, it's not it at all. We're not going to do that here. And then also, we're not going to sit here and be the Allegri out train, because that's not a solution. That's not giving you guys an answer. And that's not good of us as content creators to just sit here for an hour and talk about, oh, Allegri needs to get fired. No, I mean, regardless of how he's performing and how he's not doing very well right now, that's not it at all. So, to answer that question, where should we go and improve realistically? I think, no, you don't have to put the comic back up, but there's a couple of things. There's a couple of magnitudes. There are a couple of factors that we need to look at here. One is fitness. So when you're able to play for 20 minutes, a half of good, decent play. Now, I'm not saying like, prime Barcelona 2009, and then the team drops off. It's kind of weird per se, because then you look at it as it's a fitness issue. Why are these guys not properly in shape yet? I mean, these guys, there wasn't a World Cup, there wasn't a big international tournament in between seasons. If it was the Euros, I can understand it, and it's easier, it's more forgivable, because again, you're running the Euros, you're running from June to July. Most people are done at the beginning of July, but they still take a month off, because when you have an international tournament in the summer, the players still take a month off even after it. So sometimes they come back late in the preseason. We didn't have that. So fitness is, it's weird, but for some reason we're not fit. The second thing also is psychological. You can't. So there's goals that get conceded, and the best teams find ways to overturn those concessions. They find a way to turn it back and get it back to where they need to. We somewhat showed that against PSG, and we somewhat showed that against Salernitana. But the problem is we're instead of a team that imposes our will like we used to and what we're used to, we've become a reactive team. And it's kind of weird because we're trying to go to that top level. We're trying to be the best of the best, but why are we always reacting? Like that to me is just it's weird because like we come in, we get scored on, and then we somehow decide to wake up when the game's out of reach. Or like even like for example, with the beginning of the game, we're motivated, we score that goal against Benfica, and then we're just like, okay, cool, job done. And then the thing that I always find interesting is whenever we concede, it's almost like we've completely forgot how to play. It's like the Joe Mario penalty that they scored, and then we completely look flustered after that. We're like, what do we do? How do we move the ball? What's going on? Yada yada yada. Because prior to the penalty concession, I mean, yeah, we teetered off, but we were still playing decent. I'm not saying like we were playing amazing like the first 7-8 minutes, but we were still playing. We're in there. And then it's like we make a couple of mistakes and then we concede. And yes, Moretti's penalty was a mistake and it's going to be on Moretti. I mean, I'm not going to bury the kid. He
It's
doesn't
just so
deserve.
unfortunate.
Yeah,
Like,
it is. It
it's
is.
just a mistake. You could
Because
nothing you could do.
the thing is like you have to give your hats off to Ramos, the striker that drew that penalty, because he knew Moretti's going to try to poke at the ball. Let me put my foot in there. It's a penalty 100% of the day. Do I agree with how the penalties are called, the rules? No, I don't. I think that's kind of dumb because he's dribbling away from goal. But again, rule book, it's a penalty. So it wasn't that, Benfica dove or did something stupid. Ramos saw the opportunity, put his foot in the position, drew the penalty. Is it a soft penalty? Yes, it is. But is it within the rules that they have to call it? It is.
It's so black and white with regards to the rules.
Yeah.
Like that's just a penalty. There's no arguing that. And
Yeah.
I don't have there been arguments with that because I haven't seen any
I
personally.
don't think so.
Okay,
But
so it's
like,
just a
yeah, I think more so yesterday at like the heat of the moment. But like the thing is like, and then people making the argument, well, you guys shouldn't bury Moretti because we were going to concede anyways. That to me is a loser mentality. Like,
yeah.
stop. No, Moretti made a mistake. It's fine. It's not like this kid's career's over. It's not like Allegri's going to send him to Juventus next gen this weekend and he's never going to play on the first team. Stuff like that happens. He's 19 years old. Like, he's like he won that tackle with the initial play, and then
that was good.
It was a great tackle. It was a clean tackle. And then he's like, hey, let me try to get this out of the zone. And, unfortunately, Ramos, the experienced attacking player that he is, puts his foot there. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to quote Sam from the podcast last night. If you haven't checked that out, please do. All podcasts and platforms. Turn Giants. It was Farhad, Sam, and myself last night. And that was right after the game. So if you want more of like the quick reaction, listen to that. But he said, he compared it to Marquisio. They got loaned, I think he said, was it Empoli?
Yes.
And then he was 22 by the time he came back and became something. Like Moretti's still 19, and we've already compared him to guys like Marquisio, and Marquisio wasn't even a thing until 22.
Yep.
So we have to put that into a bit of perspective as well. The fact that Moretti at 19 in the Champions League is doing what he's doing already, you have to give him credit, and a mistake like that, I mean, that it was a mistake. That's all it is, just a mistake.
It is. And players make mistakes. And it is what it is. The thing is like it just happens. Like I don't justify the bearing of Moretti by some folk, and then at the same time I don't agree with the whole like, oh, we were going to concede, so we might as well concede there. Ramos is 21 years old. Oh, I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Yeah,
he played like he was more experienced than his age.
Yeah.
But again, it's now strikers are taught to look at that. Like for example, we've conceded plenty of penalties like that in Serie A too, where it's just like, for example, Dzeko pulled that one on De Sciglio in the Coppa Italia, where he literally just puts his foot right in front of De Sciglio, poking the ball away. Boom, pen.
It happens so much.
Yeah, it happens so much. Do I like it? No, I don't like the rule.
It's
but again,
cheesy.
It's a cheesy rule, but it's the rule. So the thing is, going back to Moretti, I don't think the kid deserves to get, hammered for it. Stuff like that happens. It is what it is. Kid will bounce back. He'll be fine. The thing that I do kind of want to go into a little bit is, and a lot of people were calling for it back then, was the 3-5-2. We ran a 3-5-2 against Benfica.
Sure did.
It worked for about less than a half, and then everything got exploited, mostly on Quadrado's side. So the thing is with the 3-5-2, you're putting heavy demand on your wingbacks, your left back and your right wing back. Um, Guys, we know Quadrado can't really run that well, and he's struggling with fitness and form. So having him in that position that demands extreme movement from him isn't the best thing at all for him. So we noticed, and I noticed this consistently in the second half, that in the second half where there was space in between the midfield and the center backs, where Benfica was exploiting all day. And that's kind of what led to their second goal. Because the thing is when you look at it geometrically, when you look at a 3-5-2 and a 4-2-3-1, so Benfica is attacking with a four-man front. So you have Joe Mario, you have Ramos. I don't remember their right wingers, but you have their center attacking midfielder and their right winger. They're pressing up against Bonucci, Danilo, and Bremer. And the thing is a lot of times our center backs are being isolated. So it was Neres because he was the one that scored. So you had those guys there, and they're being isolated, and then you're forcing Quadrado and Kostic to try to account for it or jump in for it. Problem is with the 3-5-2 is you either live by the 3-5-2 or you die by the 3-5-2. We're not a team that's running the 3-5-2 consistently, so it's a lot tougher. But they
because of
us,
injuries too, though.
Yeah.
I mean, we're kind of forced into it. But yeah, sorry, I just want to.
No, you're good. But and the thing is like because that's not a formation that you're consistently running. If you get exploited by a high pressing team, which Benfica was, and you guys watch Rabona's podcast, he said that they are going to press, and they did. And they did. They forced mistakes. They forced errors. Quick counterattack for the second goal. They got us. They caught us lacking. There was a big space between the midfield and the defense. Exploited it. Came in, hit the second goal. GG, because they took the initial shot. Perrine saved it. Fell into Neres' lap. Hits the second shot. And bam, 2-1 ball game. You got to give credit to Benfica because Benfica, they went 1-0 down. It's the first time they've been down. This was one of the first times they actually had to come back against a quality team, and they did it. It's simple as that. They did it. Mm-hmm. And kudos to Perrine as well because it could have been 3-4.
Oh yeah, he did another good job there.
Perrine, I think, was man of the match for us by far.
Best backup in the world.
Yeah, so Perrine is an absolute luxury to have as a second goalkeeper. We can have our opinions about Szczesny and Perrine, who's better, and et cetera, but hey.
And Szczesny, you're saying, is back in training.
Yeah, so Szczesny apparently. So some of the reports are saying that Szczesny has come back to training. I'm kind of curious to see how they're going to play it because Perrine technically is doing pretty decent. Again, because the thing is that second goal that he took from Benfica, he stopped the initial one and it was off a rebound that got deflected off a player that landed right in David Neres and he volleyed it in. It's tough to save that one. Same thing with the penalty against Joe Mario. He guessed the right. He almost had a hand on it. Yeah. Just Joe Mario skied into the roof of the net. So,
and that's another thing. I mean, they didn't really show the replay, and I haven't had time to go and get that one specifically, slow it down. Did he stop his run? That was a long stutter, and I know that was Bonucci's complaint. And as soon as he stuttered, like the first thing I said is like, "Oh, he's stuttering. He's gonna miss," because everyone misses the stutters. Mm-hmm. And the way he hit it at first, I thought he missed, but it ended up being a very nice penalty. But I would contest, especially in the heat of the moment, that looked like he stopped the run.
It did, but the thing is like, and this is one of the things where I'm not a big fan of the rule for that, is like a stop is considered when there's no momentum whatsoever. So like, even though, like, for example, it looks like he stopped, you could technically fall forward as you're doing your little stutter step. You'd stop and then slowly move forward, which some referees consider that as momentum moving forward. So you essentially haven't stopped the run. Neymar and Pogba are ones that are known for doing like a kind of like stutter but fall forward kind of step, because the idea is when you do it is because I've been on both sides. I've played a goalkeeper in a penalty shootout, and I've also played as a striker in a penalty shootout. So as a striker, when I'm doing the PK, when I'm taking the PK to do a stutter step like that, a lot of goalies, and especially inexperienced goalies, but again, these are pros, but like a lot of goalies that are instinct-driven goalkeepers, because you have two types of goalkeepers. You have goalkeepers that are driven by instinct, so whatever their mind's thinking, they're going instantly. The second they think the ball's moving, they're trying to beat it. There's other goalkeepers that kind of do like mind games per se. So I think Chesney's kind of one of those where he kind of does certain kind of movements and stuff like that to kind of jade the
Yeah, he
striker.
bounces around a lot.
Yeah, so he bounces around a lot and stuff like that. So like what the stutter is supposed to do is the stutter is supposed to either A, drive the instinct goalkeeper to twitch, because the thing is when you're on edge as a goalkeeper to stop a penalty, your body is completely like every single sensory detail in your mind is firing. So when you start seeing the person move the second, because you're anticipating, your mind's already playing out the scenario. He's running and he's kicking to my left. He's running, he's kicking to my right. The goal of the stutter, especially when you do a very good stop step like Joe Mario did, is the change of direction scrambles your head for about a half a second to a second, which then gives me the opportunity to see, because usually, so like there's this term, it's called the Freudian slip, when you're just talking and something slips, like for example, out of nowhere. You almost have a Freudian slip with your body. So like for example, elite strikers can pick it up when a goalie kind of goes like this, where you kind of go like where your shoulder dips, your left shoulder or your right shoulder dips. Even if it's not even, if it's a minuscule dip, you can notice it, and then you'll know his body's already positioned to go this way, and let me go the other way. Also, again, if you do it incorrectly, because again, so coming up as a striker, if you do your stutter step wrong and the observant goalkeeper see it, you tend to show your hips where you're going. So like, for example, Mario did show Perrine where he was going. The only difference is Joe Mario was able to adjust and lift the ball over Perrine, because if you watch the replay, the ball's right here, his hand's right here. So it literally goes right there at Perrine full extension. So Perrine technically almost could have gotten it, but again, it was just a really good hit penalty.
My question then is Bernadeschi an elite striker, as you say? Because I mean, his record is perfect in the MLS.
Well, I mean, even with the so
This
I knew this was coming.
I was just messing.
No. But like the thing is, so the one thing I didn't expect and I give him credit for was in the Euros. Comes in, takes a penalty against Spain, takes a penalty against England, makes both of them.
Yeah.
So Bernadeschi has a very interesting way that he takes his penalties, and watch people and be like, "Why are we talking about Bernadeschi?"
every time we do this, it's a thing.
Come on, guys. But like the thing is so like what Bernadeschi does is he's always a near side kicker. So like for example, he's always kicking to his right because of his left foot. But the one thing I give Berna credit is he elevates his penalties. He never does a low shot. It's always top corner, top middle left, top middle right. Like I have not seen Bernadeschi take a low pen, but granted, he doesn't take that many pens. Didn't do that at Juve, but again, I didn't see his MLS ones. But the ones that I had to go off for reference were Italy. So his Italy pens were really good. But yeah, Joe Mario took a great penalty. Do I agree with what he did to the fans and taunted them? No. But again, he was an Inter player at some point.
Yeah, so, whatever. I mean, that's part of the game. I don't think we should get hung up over something like that. Bonucci did. And that's a bit of a point of contention. I've seen people rag on him for that. I kind of agree, right? Instead of acting like a child and like, he's making fun of.
Yeah, show it on the field.
Yeah, start playing, man.
That's literally my thing. It's like, Bonucci's like, oh, well, Joe Mario needs to learn to be respectful and blah, blah, blah. Okay, go make it 3-2. That'll shut him up.
Yeah, win the game.
That's it. Win the game. That's all you do it. Like, and that's the thing where, and who made that comment? It was number 10, where he was saying that it's weird that none of our older guys can pull this team together when we concede. I agree. 100%, I agree.
And that's totally a thing.
It is.
Where's the veterancy?
Yeah, like seriously, like Bonucci in the post-game interviews, Bonucci even saying, "Oh, Joe Mario like offended us because he disrespected." No, you wanna get the fans' respect. You wanna defend the fans' honors. Win.
Yeah,
that's it. That's all you got to do.
Yeah, I don't know how much we want to rag on this recurring topic with the old timers, the leadership. We can almost do a whole.
You could.
We could do on it, really.
Full-on roast show on Bonucci, but
yeah.
So Zidane takes 3 steps through penalties. Yeah. So Zidane takes 3 long strides and then just blasts it. Zidane was notorious for doing it in the middle, but what Zidane's style or his technique is, it's supposed to draw you, because the guy does misdirection. He's a misdirection genius when it comes to pens. Like he got it on Buffon, to be honest with you. He got a prime Buffon with it too, where he takes those 3 steps and then he's hanging his shoulder to make it look like he's going in one direction, and he just slots it right in the middle or he chips you. Like Zidane's probably one of my favorite PK takers. That's it's just watching him is awesome. But so I digress. So going on this though, this was so I think we covered Meretti. I don't feel like talking about Quadrado because I
We
think
do that every time
yeah
as
we do
well.
that every time. So like
But I did want to say just with Moretti quickly is I've noticed a trend with him. He draws a lot of fouls, like from the other team, because he's moving around so much.
yep.
And I think that just needs to be noted because it's one of those little details that we don't really pay attention. But every match he's played in, he's drawn multiple fouls. So I mean that's awesome. I'm loving that. It just means he's moving and he's baiting guys. So
But that's the
good
thing,
job.
because like remember how we said it before a couple weeks ago, where like no one's willing to take anyone on the dribble to win anything because like what was it, set pieces? We were terrible because we never had any set pieces. So like it's one of the most underrated things as a Metzala is if you're dribbling and you're drawing a foul. Because was it Moretti that drew the foul for Paredes to pass it to Milik? I don't remember, but like being because that was like towards not towards the touchline, but a little bit off towards the touchline. But like the thing is like being able to draw, yeah, being able to draw fouls in the middle of the park, even on the edges. Paredes, I think, guys, I think we got to give Paredes credit because he's been dropping in assists as a passer. He's been doing really well for
Yeah. No,
assists.
he has.
Him and Kostic have been supplying some pretty decent balls.
They're starting to
So
open. I mean, in the darkness of what's their formation, our team right now, there is glimmers of light, and I mean the midfield that's traditionally where it's been the darkest, and it kind of looks like there's some bright spots specifically in there.
we got some sparks in there.
Yeah,
But yeah, so like being able to draw fouls, being able to create plays from better positions per se. So like normally like we would just spam corners and hope that they stick, but like having Milik and them now, like for example, Paredes is able to find Milik. Hopefully we're able to find Vlahovic, but I'm gonna put that topic out for the chat in a minute about Dusan because it's curious because I'm curious to see what other people think and see. But
yeah.
so I'll post it up now. We don't have to answer it right away. If we get enough responses, I'll just wait for some responses. But my question to the viewers are, what's your take on Vlahovic? So right now, Milik has more open play goals than Vlahovic. And I'm not saying Milik is a better player than Vlahovic. We're not doing that. But noticing the two different styles of play of Milik and Vlahovic, do you guys, the viewers, think that Vlahovic needs to adjust his play style a little bit, maybe be a little bit more mobile per se? Because like the thing is like we're looking at him as a target man or a number 9 per se, and there's a couple instances where he just takes a very heavy touch or turns right into the center back or makes kind of a sloppy pass. Because the thing is like you can throw in the argument that he doesn't get enough service, but Milik is also getting the same amount of service. But and then also, you can counter argue and say that, well, Vlahovic is drawing defenders off Milik, but if so, like for example, the goals that Milik scored, Vlahovic was right next to him. So Vlahovic's defender is right by him too. So like again, watch the highlight of Milik's header against Benfica. Vlahovic is literally the next person over to him.
Yeah,
So
there's a lot of argument for sure
yeah,
to say that. Not to say necessarily that is 100% the truth because the sample size is relatively
of
small.
course.
But what you're saying is a trend.
Yes, and the thing is I'm seeing like for me, it's like is Vlahovic kind of teetering off? Like is he really that 80 million or 80 million euro striker that we paid for? Because like the thing is I still haven't seen Vlahovic create his own shot to an extent where he's able to just turn and rip one. It's just for me, it's like I see him, he gets the ball, and then he tries slotting it through the defender and trying to outrun him instead of using his strengths. Because, like, for example, I ragged on Lukaku for him having a terrible touch and etc. But there's times where Lukaku will just receive the ball, turn, and let one loose.
Yeah.
I've yet to see Vlahovic really turn in and get a shot off.
Where
I'm
I find,
not. Go ahead.
sorry, like the once the offside there, that was an example I find that he's good at, like coming in sort of from where a wing position would be in that sense, coming out further outside and coming in. He's done that a few times, and it's worked for him. Unfortunately, I mean, so slightly offside. Unfortunate. But I mean, he can just charge in and get those goals, but whenever his back is to the defenders, which is why we bought him, I think that's why we bought him.
I would assume so.
Yeah, he's just there's something missing there, and I just
Yeah.
don't know what it is.
I I don't know. Maybe it's the pressure of being in a big club, but even at Fiorentina, like I don't remember him being an out and out just back to the main guy. I don't know. It's just there's something. It's just something seems a little bit seems a little bit off with them. And we're not. And again, Davide and I aren't trying to rag him and say, "Oh my God, this was a wasted player." You know, we shouldn't have bought him and yada yada yada. But at the same time, we're not here saying that oh, Allegri's tactics have ruined him and he's dying and blah, blah, blah. We're trying to look at it objectively in the middle because there's something a little bit off about him as far as the way that he plays. Like, again, we're saying the heavy touch, uh, him not being able to maintain possession as a number nine. Because the thing is, you know, and I'm going to talk about Holland. I'm going to mention Holland here, but like,
Yeah.
there's not really a set play for Holland in Man City. It's just Kevin De Bruyne lob the ball into the box and see what
Yeah.
sticks.
And I mean, it helps when you have KDB giving you service as
It
well.
does, it does. But you know, we have the next KDB and Moretti guys. He said KDB is his
Yeah.
idol. But like, but think about it though, because like Paredes lobbed the ball into the box and Milik got behind it. But like
Yep.
we're trying to do the same thing even before Milik came in, even like back then in the previous season where he had Dybala lobbing in passes into the box, and it just I don't see the thing is I don't know if Vlahovic right now should just put himself on number 9 island and just stay there for the time being. I think Vlahovic might need to adapt his game a little bit because the thing is like and we're told this too to a lot of the folks that are watching that have played competitive football at any place, high school, college, etc. If you're playing as a number 9 and no one's feeding you the ball, what's your first instinct? Move to the ball, move to the game. And that's the thing where it's like people try to make that argument about it. But it's just something seems a little bit off about him. Again, we're not trying to riz him and say that he's garbage and etc. No, his quality is there. We know the quality. It exists. The free kicks prove the quality is there. Even
Yeah.
some of the goals he scored at the beginning of the season. He's got the skills. It's just like there's a saying in the US where like the solution is something but you can't bring it out. It's the tip of your tongue. So like for Vlahovic, it's there. It's just on the tip of his tongue. He just hasn't really brought it out. Because like Milik is a little bit different because Milik is more experienced. Milik kind of understands the game a lot better than Vlahovic because Vlahovic is only 22 and Milik is 28. So like Milik has that well seasoned because the thing is
Yeah.
like you look at it, Milik's like, hey, I'm coming to the ball. I'm going to try to do something. I'm going to try to do something here. Where I think Vlahovic is so used to a way that Fiorentina played, and I think that's kind of on the way that Niket's saying too. So like Vlahovic is used to how Fiorentina played and what they did, and then he's kind of I don't want to say in an identity crisis, but he is kind of confused with how everything is here per se, where it's not exactly the same as how he played in Florence, but like it's different but the same at the same time, and he's a little bit confused. So I think that's a little bit to play with it, but I'm just not a big fan of sitting here just like saying, "Hey, he gets no service." Let's try to figure out why he's not getting service. Is he
Yeah.
not
There's always more
moving?
to it.
Yeah, there's always more to it. Uh, so and then let's see this
This was
one.
the last one. Vlahovic is lost in the tactics of Juve. He feel comfortable to be kind of still and try to run in the last meter. Sorry, it's obviously a bit of a translation. When he does not receive ball, we move back to the Juve side, but he is not. Okay, so essentially, yeah, he
Yeah,
doesn't backtrack. Which,
yeah,
as a note number 9, and that was a conversation we had too. Is he supposed to be doing that? And I don't think that's what he's designed to do in the setup. He's supposed to just be the big dude up front, but that's not working. And as you just said, essentially he needs to adjust because it's just not working with how we're set up, or something has to change, anyways.
yeah. Well, and then it's a continued. So good in passing, running, etc. So in his opinion, Vlahovic needs to be adapted to the style of Juve and the less chances, more defenders keeping you. Yeah, I mean I agree with that because the thing is again going from Fiorentina to Juventus is different because remember Fiorentina you're being watched but you're not entirely being stalked. The thing is like with Juventus, you're there. You're at the top tier. Everybody wants to watch you and figure out how you tick. Because again, that's what happens when you go to a top club. You're getting the attention is being brought on you. They're watching you. So, and I think so now that people are watching him, and I'm not trying to knock Vlahovic, but like he's kind of one dimensional at the moment right now because he was trying to do. Because the thing is it makes sense. He's 22 years old, guys. So we gotta remember this. Like the one thing is that we need to understand and we need to come into terms that Dusan is 22 years old. He's older than me. He's older than Davide. He's older than a bunch of people that are watching this too. So think of it as, when you guys were a teenager or even when you were in your early 20s, you were doing something and you were really good at doing something, whether it be Call of Duty, Pokemon, etc. Like you were doing it a certain way. And then you get recognized for being really good at it. And then someone brings you in, you're doing the same thing, but you're doing it a little bit differently. So as a young adolescent, you're still trying to do the same thing that made you successful, even though it's not working, until you kind of have that epiphany moment where you're like, I need to adjust something. And I
And that's
think,
maturity.
yeah, and I think it's maturity. And I think Vlahovic hasn't hit that yet mentally where he's like, I need to figure something else out. And again, we could be totally wrong, but this is what we're sitting here thinking, and some of you guys in the chat are agreeing with it in the conversation that we're having.
Yeah, we're hypothesizing, essentially.
Yeah, we're having a discussion here. That's all.
I'd just like to point out, too, Oscar here, it was a picture of him beforehand. He just changed it to this nice Juventus backdrop, so he's feeling the love and support. So thanks, Oscar. You're still after this tough loss again. So this is good. I mean, we're sticking together, so that's what matters.
Yeah. And the thing is so like there is, and again, it's Bonesy B1. Yeah, so like even with that, but how much of it is the coach's instructions? There it is. I'm saying it's 50-50 in my opinion. There's the player and then there's what the coach is telling you to do. So like for example, it's also on the coach to figure out, okay, how do I get the best out of this player? And it's also the player to say, how can I adjust myself to what the coach wants? It's a two-way dance. Because like it can't be 100% on Allegri and it also can't be 100% on Dusan. I will never say that it's 100% on one person. Like for example, we'll even use Quadrado. So like for example, there's something that Quadrado needs to figure out and say, hey, I can do this, but I can't do this. And then Allegri says, okay, if you can't do this, can you try and do this?
And how much is it? We have nobody else. You need to do this. Figure it out.
Yeah. So that's also a thing that goes into it. But with Vlahovic, because there is, so the thing is if you compare him to Haaland, there is a difference. I think as far as a player, I think Haaland is a little bit more seasoned, a little bit more mature because Haaland's been at the top a little bit longer than Vlahovic. Because like the thing is even at his days at Borussia Dortmund, Haaland, just kind of like how Farhad would say, he's a big snowman that would just run up and down the field. But like, there's times where Haaland would used to just drop down and just barrel through people to get the ball and go forward. I mean, that's kind of how he does it. So like the thing is, and that's why he's kind of flourishing at City is because he kind of has that maturity to understand, hey, my role is just to hug and menace this box and hit whatever comes at me. Because like you guys see his goals for Man City, it's toe taps. Like he's like doing some karate kick in the air and just tapping it with his toes. Because the thing is Haaland is at that level where Vlahovic still needs to take a couple steps to get there. Because Haaland says, hey, this is what I have. And he tells Pep Guardiola, hey, I'm a deadly finisher. I can't offer much in the build-up play, but if you supply me in the box, I will bop whatever comes at me. I don't care if I kick the next dude in the face, it's going in the net. And, Pep is, hey, okay, great. So then I am just going to have Riyad Mahrez, Kevin De Bruyne, Joe Cancelo, Gundogan just throw balls into the box and whatever sticks. Because, like, for example, you look at a highlight of Man City, Haaland's all the way out of nowhere, and then you see De Bruyne or Mahrez or Foden or anyone just lob a ball. You just see Haaland run 15 meters and just dink it in with his head or his foot.
And he makes it look like he's not really doing anything.
Yeah, it does. And it's, kudos to him. So I think Vlahovic will eventually get to that point where, like, it's just like he gets, because the thing is I think he's just on that cusp. I think he's going to be great. I'm not going to sit here and say that he was a flop for 80 million. No, not at all. But it's one of those things where he has to adjust. I think he needs to kind of sit back and reflect and adjust, because the thing is, and this comment too, so he's noticed that Vlahovic has to deal with two defenders. He tends to have in the front and another on the side, or just physical defenders. Dusan has to use his power more. Yeah.
But every big striker is going to have that.
Everyone does. Lukaku does. Haaland does. The thing is especially when you're a lone number 9 in a system that has 2 center backs. And yeah, so if we go on to the next comment,
Yep.
oops,
We double
sorry,
clicked
yeah,
it. There
double
you
clicked.
go.
But yeah, I think he does. I think, and I said this in the podcast with Farhad when we were doing our PSG recap. I think it was a Roma recap, but I said Vlahovic has more than Haaland to an extent because Vlahovic has an accurate free kick. He can pass the ball really well when he's actually, when he's in form. And because the thing is both Vlahovic and Haaland have two things in similar: they're big, strong, and fast. I don't think Haaland is using, or not Haaland. I don't think Vlahovic is really using his strength per se. But like the thing is Vlahovic can actually kill you with set pieces, which is something that's really good. I think his aerial game needs work, but the thing is like he's there, but he's getting there. And then number 10, opponents know how to man mark Dusan because no one else is going to score from Juve. Yeah, that's also true. Because the
That's
thing
very
is
valid.
that is very valid. Because if your only goal scoring threat is him or Milik, they don't really respect your wingers. Because like for example, you saw Benfica with Cuadrado, and I hate using his name again, but and I don't mean it in a negative sense. I just don't want this to be a podcast where we just dunk on Cuadrado. But you guys saw it. They would just put one guy on Cuadrado and that's it. They wouldn't even think about double teaming him. So like the thing is like Fiorentina, they would have two other wingers that would press forward and then we would do something, and that would free Vlahovic. Because the thing is, and we've said this before, where that's funny. Our current style doesn't suit anyone. He's not wrong.
No, he is not wrong. I think there's a whole argument just in that as well.
Yeah. So, but trying to kind of, and the whole discussion is, and I appreciate everybody in the chat just like pinging back forth some comments and some segments that we can talk and talk about and just have a productive conversation.
Yeah.
But I think the main message that we're trying to say is he's good, but I think he needs to do something else. I think he needs to kind of adapt and evolve his game a little bit more. So I think that's going to be what we're going to leave our common ground as far as like our thoughts on Dusan, where it's like he's great, but I think he needs to take another step forward, whether it be understanding how to adjust to an Allegri system. Again, we made this argument 5 minutes ago. It's 50-50. The coach can suck, the player can suck, but they still got to find a way to find that happy medium.
Just try not to suck together.
Yeah, just try not to suck together. But I think it's one of those in the middle. So totally kudos to everyone in the chat that was giving us some tidbits and some stuff to talk about it. But I think it's time to move on. I think we're going to talk about our shirt giveaway.
Oh, the shirt giveaway. And do we get into some of the trashy media stuff? Because, I mean, it's fun and we got to lighten it up a little bit. But yeah, so mentioned a couple times. I'm going to throw out the banner here because why not? We're talking about it. Yeah, so shirt giveaway at 500 subscribers. So it was 470 when we started recording this, when we went live. That's so close. So what happens at 500 specifically for us is YouTube allows us to interact with just the community. And you see that in posts and polls. Sometimes you see it as you scroll through, there'll just be like a post of what do you think of this, or just like a quick tidbit. So 500 allows us to do that. That's also halfway to 1,000, which is, I mean, that's really where the goal is. That's when we monetize. And it's not about making money so much. The plan is to put that money back into the channel to give you better production. So that's why we're trying to promote this so hard. We want to get to this 1,000 eventually. And I mean, the channel has grown substantially since we started this. So thanks to everyone for doing that. So what we're going to do is at 500 is we're giving away one of our shirts from the Turn Giant store. We'll let you choose what you want. This is Farhad's baby. He's been doing this for years. I'm wearing it right now. Super nice quality. And this isn't just me fluffing it up. I wouldn't fluff it up. I don't like the BS. It's a nice shirt. Straight up. You're going to want it whether you end up paying for it or you win in it. Just find a way to get yourself one of these shirts and help support the channel. We appreciate it. And I mean, if you can't support with monetarily, I mean, just showing up and just talking, commenting, all that stuff. I mean, that's appreciated as well, and all those thumbs up. So thank you very much. That's my mid-game advertisement. So let's move on because I hate advertisements. Let's get into some of this trashy stuff. All right, Allegri out is the 7th most hashtag thing on Twitter, publicly or globally in the world. In the Twitter world, Allegri out is number 7. That that's a bit mind blowing because the amount of crap out there on Twitter that kind of takes precedence over just our humble team of Juventus is just kind of crazy to think. And obviously that's right immediately after the match. There's a lot of emotions going on. It'll calm down. Hopefully it'll calm down. So we'll ride this wave out. But I just thought that was kind of funny, so I want to talk about that.
Yeah, my thing was when I saw that was like I was like, there's enough Juventus users on Twitter to even cause that? Because like you'd think that like to get something trending on Twitter, man, you have to have like a million.
For sure, there's prem
mentions.
heads just like trolling.
Yeah, it could be. But
It has to be.
I mean, like Premier Leagues really care about Serie A. Like, do we live in their heads rent free or something?
Oh, but the
'Cause,
trolls, though, the
yeah,
internet
say
trolls.
Italy beating England in the Euros, huh? But, but
And Italy
yeah.
won the basketball championships too.
Did they?
Yeah.
Oh, because what was it last summer too? It was like in the Olympics, there was like a sprint. The final sprint was between an Italian and an Englishman, and the Italian won. So like a bunch of Italy fans were on Twitter just being like, "Hey, England, we're here to serve you your next L. How do you want it? Cold, hot, steamy, in your face?"
Yeah, bad record against Italians, but I mean,
Yeah.
who are we to say at this point in terms of the footballing world? I mean,
But yeah.
yeah.
So Allegri out. To be honest, he wasn't even trending that bad the first time they fired him. So
No.
good. Hey guys, you're looking for improvement. There's improvement from the squad right there. Allegri's been trending on Twitter. It's a terrible joke, but it's funny at the same thing too. So,
Yeah.
and it's and the thing is it is well deserved. I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh come on, Allegri out is just blasphemous, but guys, the thing is the first time in our history we've lost 2 opening Champions League matches.
Yeah.
That's not a good record to set or a precedence to have. That's not good at all. Again, I'm not going to sit here and do the Let's Roast Allegri show, but do better. I mean, that's the only thing I can tell from him. So, with the whole Allegri out and all that fun stuff, because again, we're not going to sit here and just complain about Allegri out.
You did get the really disappointed father tone going right now, though, like that really low, like almost monotonous. I am so disappointed in you.
It's because I am disappointed because the thing is he's a well-experienced coach. He's not a Pirlo. He's not a Sarri. He's Massimiliano Allegri. Won 11 titles in 5 years with us. You can say that the league was weak, etc., and yada yada yada, but he still won it. He still fielded teams out. He still organized the group. I mean, even though Napoli choked in 2017, 2018, he still had to beat a 91-point Napoli to win that title.
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
Yeah, he did it. He beat these guys. He's got the credentials. He's got all of it. So the fact that he looks like a rookie manager kind of disappoints me. Because the thing is we've said this on the podcast. Give the guy what he wants, and if he fails, it's on him. We given him what he wants. He wants Paredes, we got Paredes. You want Kostic, you got Kostic. We replaced Delict with Bremer. We did that.
He wanted to pay, we got somebody better.
Yeah, he wanted to pay, and we got the next best thing in Milik. Haha, sucks to suck to buy. But wanted Di Maria, we got Di Maria. Wanted Pogba. Unfortunately, Pogba's injured, but still, Pogba shouldn't be the one thing that is going to save our season. That's a bad sign if it's going to be Pogba. And I'm a little bit now in a little bit of a segue, but if that's the case, and like I see a lot of people saying wait until Chiesa comes back, I'm absolutely terrified if our season is dependent on Chiesa, because the amount of pressure you're going to put on him, and who knows the potential of him relapsing his knee injury, because knee injuries are no joke. So
yeah. And he's going to be slow to start off anyways. It's going to take him a while to really catch his stride. So don't expect miracles in that regard.
Yeah, don't expect Chiesa hat tricks in January. I'm just
as much as I love him. You guys know I love him.
If he does, Coney is going to test him for performance-enhancing drugs. If he comes in hat trick first game, I'll be happy. But yeah, we can't. We're not gonna. There's no way that we're gonna sit there and expect Chiesa to sit there and be the end-all, be-all when he comes back. Again, I hope he comes back healthy, does really good, etc., etc.
And just because I'm responding to everyone, I'll respond to this too. Allegri is a very, very, very stupid manager. I would use stubborn instead of stupid. I don't think he's dumb. I just think he's very stuck in his ways, and they might be just past, done. So, yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Do we have the video of Milik and Di Maria where Di Maria's like, why did he sub you out? And he's like, I don't know.
No, I just saw that live, but I was shaking my head.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Speaking of Bones' comments, I'm trying to pull up. I have a screenshot where it shows all of Allegri's big games, and I think the only ones he's won against was Roma. But yeah, because Allegri has not
That was on
beat.
Discord.
I think, was it on Discord?
Or maybe it was a tweet on Discord. But yeah, it showed all his stats, and they weren't good against big teams.
Yeah,
Pretty much abysmal against big teams.
Yeah,
And big team includes Roma.
Lazio, Roma, and all them.
Yeah.
But like even so, he didn't beat Milan at all. He didn't beat Atalanta.
No.
He didn't beat Villarreal. He beat Chelsea once. He didn't beat Inter. He drew one, lost one.
Oh, you saw it on. We must have retweeted it. All right, I feel dumb.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's on our Instagram. That's funny.
Thanks for calling us out.
I know. Well, I didn't have our Instagram page pulled up open, so like
good on you though. Like I said, I like being called out. If I'm doing something dumb, you got to let me know.
So yeah, I'll pull it up just so I can have everything accurate here. But looking at the stats, so Allegri's big matches, so lost 2-1 to Napoli in the beginning of last year, tied with Milan. We beat Chelsea, then tied with Inter. We lost with Inter in the Super Cup. We got clapped by Chelsea 4-0. Tied against Milan with 0 shots on target. We tied 1-1 against Napoli, that game we should have won. Villarreal 1-1, Villarreal 0-3, Inter 0-1, 4-2 to Inter in the Copa final, and then PSG with us. Add Benfica to the list, and also they didn't even add the Atalanta games on this list either. So we didn't beat Atalanta last year. We lost and we drew. So we brought him back in to beat the Beneventos, the Lecces, and all that stuff to get those points, but we're not. And the sad part is everyone was like, Allegri's a big game manager, and unfortunately, he hasn't shown it. It is disappointing, to say the least. But the thing is like firing him and me sitting here saying Allegri out. I don't like the guy. I'm disappointed in him. But like at the same time, if Arriva Bene even said it perfectly in an interview, it was he was walking out of a restaurant and someone said Allegri out, and he says, "All right, you guys gonna pay the next manager?" The reason why I say that is because Allegri's on a 4-year deal, roughly around 10 million a season. So this is half a season, right? Well, not even 3/4 of a season. So I'll just say that it's the beginning of the year. If we were to fire him right now, it would be this season, next season, and the season after that we owe him wage for, which is roughly about 30 million.
Okay, I do have a tweet. I do have it. I can flash it up here real quick. I'm sort of going to be advertising somebody else's channel, but that's okay. We'll roll with that. Sorry that we didn't pull. I mean, we're just doing this on the fly, so
yeah.
I mean, sorry, I wasn't prepared for the random question.
We're an organic. We don't script our material at all.
All right, there it is.
All right, I think we need to zoom it in.
Yes,
cool,
like that.
All right, so this was BZ Julian Gennatti. He quoted this, but since returning to coach Juventus, Max Allegri has 30 wins in 60 matches. So technically that's a 50% win rate, which is not that good compared to the 80% he had previously. Lost 2 finals, a total of 3 wins in 19 matches against air quotes quality teams. Opposition Inter 0-4, Roma 2-3, Chelsea 1-2, Milan 0-2, Atalanta 0-2, Napoli 0-2, Villarreal 0-2, PSG 0-1, Benfica 0-1.
So far.
So going back to the finances for the Allegri out campaign, the problem is in the contract we would have to pay him for even if we were to sack him, we have to pay him the years that are remaining on his contract, because that's what happened last time when we sacked him 2 years before his contract went out. So what is it? Is it 7 million? Because I think I saw somewhere it was like 9 million
Nine,
gross.
yeah, 9 is what I saw.
Yeah.
Euros.
So it could just be 7 million, 7 million net or something. But Allegri, so like as far as money wise, we would have to owe Allegri all three. Because I'm counting this one again. If we want to really go into the specifics and take the percentage of games he's already coached into the year, I'm just going to assume that it's a full season this season. So you'd have this season, the next season, and the after, because he signed a 4-year contract. So
Yeah. So it's almost 4 full years
yeah,
we
it's
would have to
almost
pay him
it's
out.
yeah, you would have to pay him out, and then you'd have to give him a severance package as well. So 35, 40 million, and that's insane. Because try hiring a coach when you owe your other coach almost 40 million.
And that's the whole problem. Even if it's a Tuchel, let's say,
But even
he's
that,
still not going to be cheap.
he's not.
No, he wouldn't be. And I mean, I say that I'm kind of throwing shade at him because I don't think he's a. I think he's the same coach. Essentially, that's what I'm trying to say. He's the same coach.
Yeah, and also, guys, watch Dak Calcio boy's video on Tuchel. So like,
Yeah, he nailed it.
he nailed it. Dak Calcio boy. If you're still in the chat, man, just feel free to type in a comment so we can flash you.
Here, I'll re-flash this one because I agree with it.
Yeah. So so Dak Calcio boy. So he actually made a really good video on how Tuchel doesn't really suit as a fit for us. And then if you guys want some more information, if you guys want more information on Tuchel as well, check out Adrian from Rabona TV. He kind of talked down a whole situation of how Tuchel and Chelsea broke apart with the new owners. And there's a lot of stuff where if Tuchel came to us, it would probably be the same thing, because there was disagreement with the owners and certain things as far as etc. That Tuchel didn't work. And Tuchel is literally, and as far as defensive philosophy, he's another Allegri almost. As far as defensiveness, like there isn't like Tuchel doesn't employ a high pressure system or anything like that. He runs a back three, a 3-4-3 or a 3-5-2. Predominantly, it's a 3-4-3 is what he runs. So it's not really anything different. That's the thing.
I feel like when we beat them last year in the Champions League, that 1-0 game, that it was so highly touted because he essentially beat himself.
Yeah, it was Allegri versus Allegri.
Yeah, in a matter of speaking, right? So a lot of people were excited because of the tactical aspect of it, and I totally get that. I agree. But in terms of just a fan, the eye candy test, I was not impressed at all. Obviously, I was happy that we won, and it was a big deal.
Because think about it, Chelsea was trying to break on the counter, and then we were like, no, we're already doing that. And then Chelsea's like, wait, if you're sitting back and I'm sitting back, then what are we doing? Because that game was a snooze fest. Let's be honest here. Like both teams only had 1 or 2 shots on goal.
It was very bad to watch.
Yeah, and like to be honest with you, the goal that Chiesa scored was like, I think Allegri was just like, hey, like let's just string 2 passes and go forward and see what happens.
Yeah,
and
Chiesa do whatever it is that you do, and he's
like, yeah, just tactic talk. Okay, adelante. Okay, bola de Chiesa, and then that's it. Halftime done. Because that's literally what happened, because we scored that 1 goal and just parked the bus, and then Chelsea parks the bus too. So they're like, wait, we have to attack. So so I think that game was kind of like and I was excited at the time too. I was guilty of it because I'm like, hell yeah, we beat Chelsea. They're the reigning Champions League winners. But then it's like we went and we drew to Milan or someone that weekend after, and I'm like,
oh yeah. It's
like,
you're reminding me about things.
But so the thing is like, so going back on the whole Allegri out train, if we fire him, we're gonna get a shitty coach. It's gonna be a cheap option. Unless
so what's
that
this
guy,
Acerbi thing you're talking about?
I got you. So De Zerbi. So everyone remembered De Zerbi. He was Sassuolo's coach, and whenever we'd play Sassuolo, he'd be a pain in the butt because he had out Sarri when Sarri was our coach. So there is an article. Again, this is more so fan articles, not like a full-on news article. But again, Football Italia. So it's off of Football Italia. So again, however you guys treat Football Italia, treat it. But again, this is more so to open up some discussion. Right now, so It's not confirmed, but there's whispers that one of the managers to replace Allegri is De Zerbi. He used to be Sassuolo's coach. He does a high press, high offensive side. Problem is if you guys look at the results with him in Sassuolo would win a game 5-1 and then lose a game 1-0 or win a game 1-0. Super inconsistent offense. He went to Shakhtar Donetsk in the previous year, and then didn't do too well with them. Lost qualifiers in the Champions League and was kind of average. And then when certain topics or situations happened in the country that he was coaching in, he resigned from the club, and I think he's currently out of a job. But right now, Brighton is looking to bring him into the Premier League because their coach Potter went to Chelsea. So it looks like Juve is keeping tabs on him just in case, because again, I think De Zerbi is a cheap coach. I don't think he's going to command that much, probably like Pirlo. Because I think Pirlo only made 1.5 million a season as coach. So
Yeah, it
like
was really cheap.
yeah, very very cheap.
But this is my concern. You say Brighton. Is that the level of coach that we're looking for?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, it doesn't sit right. And who knows? Maybe the guy's brilliant and we just haven't figured it out. And he needs that team, a team like Juve, perhaps. I don't know. But
Like Ivan Juric makes more sense than De Zerbi.
yeah, I mean, you're probably not wrong.
Cause think about it. Cause like the thing is like he's defensively he's an Allegri almost. He plays defensive football with Torino, but like hey, solid defense. His offensive coaching capabilities are a little bit shaky, but like still does that. So I would take Juric or Gasparini over De Serbi, because De Serbi he left Serie A, went to Shakhtar, and then kind of fizzled out. Now he's being brought back to Brighton, and Brighton is
Whatever.
call us a relegation team in the Premier League, 15 to 20. I call teams, so like for the viewers, so I call any team that's within 15, like place 15 to 20, a relegation team in a sense, because
They're
they might
fighting
not get
for it.
relegated, but they're fighting to prevent it.
Yeah.
So like that's what Brighton is. Brighton isn't a top 6, top 5 team. I mean, Juric and Gasparini are. I'm not saying that they're the coach that I want for Juve, but like if we're looking at options like that, I mean, you're better off looking, like for example, I think Dat Calcio boy says, like if we don't get De Zerbi, I think we'll end up with Dionisi. Like it doesn't surprise me at all. That's why for me it's like
But like that bothers me too. Just thinking about this.
yeah, but
These are the profiles that we're supposed to, win
exactly.
anything with. I just don't get it. I don't.
Yeah,
I'm not buying it.
but that's the crazy thing about it is like nobody wanted it. So Pirlo, let's talk Pirlo real quick. The reason why Pirlo got the job was because Sarri and Allegri were still on the club's wage bill at the time. We were still paying Allegri and we were still paying Sarri. So it's like we could only afford so much, and that's why we took in Pirlo. No offense to Pirlo, all credit to him. Great player, phenomenal guy.
Or the
Nothing.
shirt.
Wearing the shirt. But that's why the club picked him. They didn't think that Pirlo was some kind of genius or anything like that. They're like, hey, let's put him in here as a placeholder for 1 or 2 years. If Guardiola, Klopp, or Zidane or anyone frees up, we'll purchase them, thank Pirlo for his service, and then move him on after 2 years. I think that was the original plan, because I don't think they were expecting Allegri to come back. So I think that's what the club was thinking at the time when they brought in Pirlo. But it didn't work out that way.
He was meant to kind of
He was
be the sacrificial lamb.
He is what Antonio is saying about Lenducci. He is a Lenducci.
Yeah, I mean we're gonna see him this weekend coming up Sunday against Monza. So he's done well in the past. I'm kind of excited just to see. It's something different. At the end of the day, though, we have to remember Allegri's just not on the pitch during the game. All the build up, I mean, probably in an earpiece. Allegri's still pretty much there. So it's not 100%
Yeah.
Landucci doing this.
Yeah, and even if like the thing is like even if we did fire Allegri and kept Landucci, we still have to replace Landucci. There's no way. I don't see them promoting Landucci as the senior coach for the next 2-3 years.
Landucci's Allegri's guy,
Yeah,
right? Like it's part of his coaching staff.
yeah. So like if Allegri, so hypothetically, if we fired Allegri and then Allegri goes to somewhere else, he takes Landucci with him. So like,
Or they would have to have a separate contract now. It's not just like, oh, Landucci, you just keep the salary that you have and you just do this now. No, you'd have to like
yeah.
renegotiate the whole thing.
So
And I know that was a joke. We just kind of got serious. We ruined the joke.
That's an interesting comment. So Deserbi got a 66.67 win rate with Shakhtar. It's actually not bad.
That's not bad at all.
But is that accounting for like Champions League and everything, or is that just the Ukrainian league? Because the reason why I'm kind of skeptical about the Ukrainian league is because one, it got ended halfway through because of, you guys know what, I just don't want to say it on YouTube because of the algorithm and stuff, but it's why I'm a little bit skeptical. And then also the fact that he still hasn't found a job yet, from what I've heard. So I don't know. For me, he played interesting football, but like, I just don't understand. I don't. My question is, and I'm not shitting on, and I'm not gonna crap on Deserbi, but like, I want to see how he, like, if you can, Anatoly, if you can give us like kind of your thoughts on how he can incorporate his style to Juventus, like, please comment it in the chat, because like, I get it and I don't get it at the same time, because it's just like the players and the stuff that he wants to do, I don't think we have the personnel for what he wants. That's why I'm a little bit skeptical about Deserbi. And then who else? I thought, okay, so Pirlo deserves more of a chance. I think they were going to give him 2 seasons, but I think Ronaldo was like, no. I think Ronaldo kind of had a part in that.
So unfortunate. I mean, you know what I feel. Yeah, I'm not getting into it.
I'm going to say this: if Ronaldo was not on that team, I don't think Pirlo gets sacked after that 1 year.
I wanted to see him play, or sorry, coach, continue.
Because the thing is, and we see it with Man U, Ronaldo wants to play in the Champions League, so I think he was like, oh crap, Pirlo like barely got through the skin of his teeth, and he's like, I don't want Pirlo as a coach if I need to like barely fight for Champions League. So I think Ronaldo had a factor in it. Ronaldo had a factor in Sarri getting fired as well, and as well as Allegri leaving the first time. So like, I'm not saying blame Ronaldo for all of Juve's woes, but like he did play a part in it, because the club respected him way too much. They gave him way too much power as a player. So it's kind of like the same issue that Mbappe has with PSG. So
yeah,
again, that's my take. I'm not inside the Allegri inner circle, but
nobody's bigger than the team. At least that's what they say.
So Oscar, all Landucci, and then so Antonio. We don't have the players for its every system. Yeah, that's my only thing, is I'm a little bit concerned with that. Is I don't see, because the thing is, if we're having a fitness issue, how are we going to have players press if they can't even run for more than 25 minutes? So
that is a problem.
That's going to be something, because the thing is like, even if we, so hypothetically, let's put this situation in our heads, guys. So if we fire Allegri and get the Deserbi tomorrow, it's going to take 2.5 months for a system to fully be implemented to get the players in shape. Is the club willing to risk dropping that many points? Because think about it, like 2 months worth of games, etc., and like just getting all of that together per se.
I think practically, to actually fire a coach for a team like ours, where we're actually trying to compete for something, it has to be the point of no return, where the season's lost, so there's nowhere else to go. And you bring the new guy in to start rebuilding, give him a little more time this season to figure things out, and then come in a lot hotter than next season. That's the most practical way of doing that.
Yeah, like, and this is fantasy, but like the only way where I could sit there and justify bringing Deserbi mid-season is if we're like 6 games in, we only have 2 points. That's when like, hey, everything is lost. Because the thing is Juventus will not risk the Champions League. That's why they don't fire coaches mid-season. They only fire them at the end, because Champions League money, guys, 1 through 4 make a lot of money Champions League wise, revenue. Huge. So even with like Pirlo and all them, like they didn't sack him mid-season. They waited till the end. So like even with Allegri, the club isn't going to do it, because they're not going to risk losing top 4. If Allegri gets some top 4 and is like, say that at the end of the season, it's, one of the top, like there's like a sizable gap between the top 3 and us, Allegri's gone. That's when they would fire him. They wouldn't do it mid-season. So it just wouldn't make sense.
And just to hit this quickly, really, you guys think CR7 was the real reason why Pirlo got sacked? Contributing factor, not the reason. But he had an influence. Yeah,
he's not the end-all, be-all. I think he had something to do with it, because, again, Ronaldo wants to compete for the Champions League. So, like, he was like, oh, well, blah, 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 this, because I mean, he was one of the contributors that got Sarri canned too, because again, he wanted to win the Champions League, wanted a coach to win it, and then et cetera, et cetera. So like, he wasn't 100% to blame, but he did have some as well. And then management is really at fault. Poor planning, yeah, pretty much
Part of
why
it,
we're in the
yeah.
situation we're in. And then Antonio again. So the way that the team keeps having the blame has been going on since they fired Allegri in 2019. It happened with Sarri, it happened with Pirlo as well. What's going on?
Yeah, there's something on the back end for sure.
There,
Personnel issues.
yeah, there's something that's weird. So the thing is also there's two things as well. There's the back office and then there's the squad itself, because you don't have a Chiellini or a Buffon anymore, because like those were guys that the players on the pitch could rally against.
That's
We don't
huge.
have that.
Leadership
That's huge.
is super big. I don't know. For me, it's one of those key tenets of just a team, whether it's a business, a sport, what have you. Having a hard centered core of leadership, and sometimes it really does just take one guy, and it doesn't need to be the captain or any certain profile. It just needs one guy in that team just to rally the troops. And we see it to some degree, like Danilo, for instance.
Yep.
Presenting the team to the Kurva Sud there to just get jeered at, essentially. That shows some balls,
Yeah.
just straight up. But there's not that Buffon, like you said, Buffon, Chiellini. They're just at that next level. They're the true leaders, and
Yeah.
we don't have that anymore.
And the thing is like the only thing, and like you said it, the only thing we have is Danilo. Like that's it. And then Antonio's comment is it because Morata's not there anymore?
Yeah.
I think so. My thing about
Well.
Morata is he's also partially to blame. Because the thing is like he never him and Allegri almost really from what we've seen never really saw eye to eye per se. Because over the years, there's a couple of players, a couple of directions that Allegri wanted to go, and Morata went in a different direction. Like he brought in Bernardeschi, offered him that 5-year deal. So like there was a couple of things where it kind of, because I think, and also at the same thing too, because Morata getting fired isn't 100% Agnelli. I think Morata had something to do as well with it, and I think maybe Morata got a little bit more egotistical because hey, we're winning, we're dominating, et cetera, et cetera. And some of the transfers he made as well were weird too, and also some of the deals that he did were kind of weird as well. So, because you look at Inter Milan, he hasn't turned them into something incredible. He had a perfect storm of Lukaku, Hakimi coming in with Conte as their coach, and then look with what they're doing right now. They're struggling. Like they're not.
They're doing better than us.
They're doing better than us, but like I mean, at this point, like Fiorentina's doing better than us if you want to use that argument, but.
I suppose.
So yeah, but like the thing is like I don't think Morata's like, even if we were to hypothetically get Beppe Morata back here, I don't think it changes a thing. I think Arriva Bene and Carabini are going in the right direction for the past 2 years that they've been dealing business. So I don't disagree with that, but I don't think the club was entirely built on Morata. Number 10's comment, because he has this one's a very good comment. So kudos, like awesome job, man. So my issue is what kind of football we want to play 5 to 10 years from now. So get a coach that suits the style, like Barca, Bayern. So here's the interesting thing about Bayern Munich. So Bayern Munich's like main coach that dominated was Juppke Heynckes. So if you look at the coaching tree of Bayern Munich, all of the coaches that have coached Bayern Munich all coach a similar style, because that's the style that Oliver Kahn, who is Bayern Munich's director, wants the club to play. So like and the thing is it used to be the same with Barca, but Barca got a little bit weird with Valverde and
they've been
Koeman.
Slipping. Yeah,
they were
the
slipping.
Last few years.
Yeah, they're slipping coach quality wise. But
even
like,
this year isn't really locked in either.
I don't think Javi's a good coach. I really don't. I have my skepticism for Barca's coach. But like, for example, Bayern Munich is a perfect example of this. And you can even throw Pep Guardiola into this equation, but like every coach that has coached Bayern Munich has a total football style where it's a gegenpress, attack, push forward, high line, everybody. Their current coach, Nagelsmann, the coach that previously, I forgot his name, but he coaches the German national team. Almost the same style. So like what Bayern does, and I got to give credit to Bayern's like directors and etc.
It's not Yogi, is it? Isn't
no,
he
not
Yogi
not,
Lova?
not Lova. I think it's Hanks. Hanks, I think that's who it is. Maybe I don't know.
Somebody correct us if you know.
Yeah, Chad, if you know Germany's current national team coach, that isn't Jurgi Low. It's
Yeah, because he got
Hans
fired.
Flick. There we go. Thank
That
you.
Hansi Flick.
Yeah, Hansi Flick.
Yeah, Hansi. I love
So
that
like
name.
like Nagelsmann, Hansi Flick, also the previous coach that they had, the one that they went to the final against Chelsea. I think it's Jupp Heynckes. But like having all those guys, Bayern Munich knows who their next coach is already.
Yeah.
Like they tried an experiment with Ancelotti, they tried the experiment with Guardiola, it didn't work. Like the funny thing is like Bayern's the most deadliest is when they get a German coach from the Bundesliga, because like with Pep and with Ancelotti, like they were good, but it wasn't like anything like dangerous. But like the thing is Bayern as a club is so strategically run to where right now, even though Nagelsmann is doing decent with Bayern Munich, and I don't think he's getting sacked anytime soon, Bayern's already looking at who their next coach is going to be when he leaves. So they're looking at the tactics that he plays. Does it suit the players? Do they do this? Do they do that? The problem with Juventus and why we can't do that, and Barcelona used to do it too back then with Frank Rijkaard, with Pep's first run, with Tito, who took over Pep, and then Luis Enrique. So, like for example, Barcelona from like 2000, the 2000 early 2000 era to about 2015, 16 when Luis Enrique left. If you look at all those coaches, they all played the same style for Barcelona. So, like for example, Rijkaard brought in Ronaldinho, started bringing in kind of like the tiki-taka philosophy, and the thing is Barcelona's board was Johan Cruyff. So, like all of those guys that came in essentially studied Johan Cruyff's coaching style. So, like Barcelona, when they were absolutely dominant, like people would sit there and be like, "Oh, thank God, man, Pep Guardiola is gone. He's not coaching." And then you get Tito and Luis Enrique, and they're doing the same exact thing, and you're getting smoked by Messi again. You're like, "What the hell, man?" It's like they never lost a step. I think the only time Barcelona really lost a step is when Enrique left and Valverde came in, and then that's where Barcelona kind of started teetering downward.
Yeah.
But like a successful club, and like for example, even Manchester United when they had Sir Alex Ferguson for 30 years, like clubs that the club, and I think Juventus as a club has not identified the identity that they want to play. I think Milan is doing it. I think Milan actually is starting to actually make an identity for the way that they play. But even Milan, when they were dominant with Ancelotti, 4-4-2, then that's all they would play. So like, I think it doesn't work for us, unfortunately. Number 10, I don't think it's a Juve thing because it's just Juve doesn't have a set style or a set way of play. I mean, we're taught how to just defend and counterattack, but it just doesn't sit.
We got an Italiano fan here.
We do,
which is fine. No, it's just you've trashed. We didn't trash him. We just didn't
we're
agree
skeptical.
that he. Yeah, we were skeptical that he wasn't right for Juve in particular. But I mean, at this point, anything could be questioned, I believe.
Yeah, and who was it? Fabian actually makes a great comment. So he's comparing Allegri to Capello. So that's actually a really good comparison because there was a time where Capello was dominant in like the 90s with Milan, and then like in the 2000s he just didn't have that same magic. And it kind of makes sense because like sometimes the game leaves you. Like it does. So that's a pretty solid comment as well.
Yeah, man. Thanks for the comments tonight. All of you. It's
loving the engagement, guys, because like this helps us out. Because like for example, we'll be talking, and then you guys will chime in with something. We're like, oh, hey, we didn't cover that either.
And not just that. I mean, it's good, clean, intelligent conversation. So just thank you everyone for being intelligent. It's awesome. I love it.
So to kind of bounce back on the Italiano, so the reason why we're a little bit skeptical is one, Fiorentina's performances this season. Two, also just he hasn't been coaching in the top division for a while. It's only been the 1 year with Spezia and the season with Fiorentina last season. And for me, if I'm going to decide whether or not he wants to be a Juve coach, is how he does this year without Vlahovic and Fiorentina. Is he able to push for top 7? That's going to be my criteria. But again, I'm just a commentator on YouTube. I'm not some professional here. But yeah, and that's one of the reasons why I'm a little bit skeptical on him.
All you need to do to be a professional, start making money. So as soon as we do that,
get monetized.
Go. Yeah.
I'll put it on my dating profile. Professional Juve pundit. No.
Yeah. Get that blue check mark.
Yeah. So yeah, perfect. I think KB and us are common ground there. And then Niket, Barca should have hired Ten Hag and not Javi. Yeah, I think so. I think one of my things with Javi is, and I've said this to a lot of friends of mine that are Barcelona fans. I said I don't think he's that experienced. I think he did some stuff in Asia, and then he came over to Barcelona. I think the pressure might be a little bit too much for him. And then KB again with Vlahovic is better suited to his system. Yeah, I think so. But the problem is though, at Fiorentina, Vlahovic was the guy, but at Juventus, like Vlahovic might be like the best player, but Bonucci has more weight than Vlahovic at Juve. So, like for example, a good example was with Sarri and Chiellini. Chiellini was like trying to be respectful, but at the same time, Chiellini's like, "Who the hell is this guy? Like this guy's weird as heck." So, like the problem is like if Vlahovic was the captain, Italiano would probably fit in a lot better, but he's not. So you have Danilo, you have Sandro, you have Bonucci, you have a bunch of the old guard there, where Chesney as well, where like if Italiano doesn't get their trust, he's just bound to fail. So that's like one of the counter arguments for that. Like, yeah, Vlahovic is good for his system, but how will the older players buy into it? Because that was the issue we had with Sarri, where Chiellini's like, I get what he's saying, but it doesn't make sense for us. Because that's actually one of Chiellini's first interviews of Sarri when he coached us, when he coached Juventus. And then, what about Udinese's coach? I actually
And
don't know the
Andrea
name.
Sotil, I just looked it up because I didn't
Okay.
know at the top of my head.
But so even with that, it's a good name to bring up. But at the same time, how much of it is going to be a streak? So, like, for example, right now he could be starting on fire and then he could lose the next 10 games.
Yeah, and that really is the problem, and it's so hypothetical at the same time because different players, different systems, you can't really just say drop this coach into this team and all of a sudden it'll work. And then it takes time to even make that vision work if it ever does. So it's extremely hypothetical. We just hope that the management, whatever Bene Carabini, they have some sort of idea in their head where they want to go. Just like you alluded to with Bayern, they always know who the next coach is, and I don't think we do, and that's a problem. And I mean, until we have somebody of a high enough profile to take the job, we got to stick with Max in this case. I don't think there is any other option, especially when you take into the account of all those financials and just the time it takes and the points that'll be lost. If I mean, yeah, if it's a disaster class, sure, I get it, but barring that, yeah, I think we just have to buckle up for this one, guys.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a steady ride. So let's try to, before we talk about the Super Cup, let's try to run through these. So Bones says, I'd rather have Vlahovic as a captain than Bonucci. Yeah, I agree. Juve identity has always been solid defense. So this is a good point that you bring up. So and this is why 2019 kind of irritated me, because our identity was solidity in the back, always have a low goals conceded rate, and if we score, we win ugly. Sorry, tried changing that. So like the club, the hierarchs, your Agnellis, your Nedveds were like, I don't want to do that anymore. We want to be more attractive. We want to make more for them. We want to do more marketing per se. So like they wanted to do stuff like that. So that's kind of like the first domino that fell, and it kind of put us in a club identity crisis. Because right now we don't know what the hell we want to do. Everybody wants to play beautiful football and attractive football like Liverpool and City, but then everyone's getting mad that we're conceding because we're not, focusing on defense. And then there's people that say that we're a snooze fest. And then, do you guys remember when Pioli was about to be sacked? Do you remember the context around that and how they came out of their spiral?
Milan had the next guy up already, and I can't remember who that
Yeah,
was. German?
Ragnick, Ralph
Yes,
Ragnick.
that's who
So
it was.
it was interesting because the thing is, Ragnick wanted to be the technical director and the coach as well.
Yeah.
So I think it was Maldini and Pioli that got the club out of the spiral, and then Zlatan was also a part of it as well.
Yeah, that leadership. There you go, leadership.
Yeah, because the thing is so Zlatan was the oldest player on that team, and that team was full of youngsters per se. Like most, I think Milan still has the youngest team in the league right now, but like all of those players, like maybe your second oldest was Chanalogu or something like that. But like Romagnoli was young, Calabria was young, Tonali was young, Kessie was young. I think did they have Diaz that year? I know they had Hernandez, but like Hernandez was young.
Yeah.
So like all those guys rallied behind Zlatan and Pioli, and it just worked for them. They were able to rally beyond a point because the thing is Zlatan kind of kicked that team into high gear because that transfer when he came in January helped those guys out a lot because you were right, Lars, because Pioli was going to probably get sacked, or in
He
theory,
was. He
he was a
was going to get
caretaker.
sacked.
Yeah, because him and Maldini were both going to get dropped because Pioli was hired in because Gianpaolo like did a complete crap job and like Milan was a laughing stock. So he came in, I think it was like October, November, and like was just a caretaker for the entire season. And then he got through to the players, and the players rallied behind him because I
Milan
remember
they went from a banter team to champions in a couple years.
they came. What is it? We were leading them 2-0, and then they came back and beat us 4-2.
Yeah. Oh,
So
that game, man.
yeah, so
Just
like
all these bad memories, man.
I know, but like the thing is like Pioli got through to the young kids because again, Milan is a really young team, and that's what Elliott wanted to do with Milan was just bring in a bunch of youngsters, and I think Zlatan was like the final spark that they needed. So it was a combo job of Pioli and Zlatan, and then 2 years later, after that moment, they won the Scudetto,
Yeah.
and then Andrea Sotili coaching Juve or
Yeah.
Unde said Juve. And then I think you're all said it before. Bonucci is there because of Chiellini. Yeah.
Yeah. On the back of giants.
Yep. Then KB, you raise a good point. Next year, most of the old guard will be gone. Juve cannot afford to keep relying on players that are way old.
And that's why I'm really looking forward to next year because you don't have that Sandro in there.
Yeah.
You don't have Rabiot's contract. I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens there. I mean, there's multiple contracts anyways that will be expiring. And they're all of the guys that we don't want to be here anymore. So it's perfect. We can use that money for something else and maybe build the team the way we want to. But that's, again, next year. Nothing we can do now.
Can we put a De Jong on Allegri? That's funny. So could it be that the old guards caused the problem? Yeah, I think so. Because like if you guys watch All or Nothing, you watch behind the scenes with Bonucci, Quadrado, and some of those older guys. I think, to be honest with you, I think it's the old guard. They're part of the problem as well. I think these guys need to be moved on. I mean,
You see
Milan
that,
did it.
yeah, you see it so much just in life, your job, whatever. You have these old guys. I mean, these days they call them boomers, I suppose,
Yeah.
right? It's like those old boomers cramping everyone's style. They're just not hip enough. They want to work 40 hours a week. Well, okay, not gonna get into that, but you know what I'm saying, right?
Yep. And then agrees with Antonio. So Anatoly, one dream, Del Piero, part of the management, not a coach, but near Nedved and the rest. I agree with that because the thing is he's underrated. But Maldini actually did a really good job with Milan because he's someone that cares about the club, that understands the history, the tradition of Milan, and he's trying to essentially bring that culture to it. So I am 100% for that. I think Del Piero should be in the upper management, but Agnelli needs to grow a pair of balls and apologize and try to settle the beef between him and Del Piero.
Or, as you have said in the past, you sack Agnelli as well as Allegri.
Then you bring in Del Piero.
Get rid of the old guard.
You know,
But again, that would all have to be next year, I think. Once you
Yeah,
get
it
rid
would
of
be.
everyone.
Well, the thing is and we said this with Adrian. We said if Allegri gets sacked, I think Elkin sacks Agnelli. Because you guys got to remember, Elkin technically has the most power because he is the chairman of Exor, and Exor owns Juventus. So if Elkin comes in and says, "Hey, man, what the hell are you doing? Like, this isn't what I want," because read the reports, guys. Elkin's been a lot more involved in the club than he has been in the past 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a reason. And I think Agnelli's on the chopping block. I think Agnelli's on the chopping block. So any small moves, because right now Twitter's reporting that Agnelli's furious at Allegri for the start of the season. Because I think Agnelli knows if Allegri fails, he's out the door with them.
Well, you predicted that. That's I'm giving you that one. So you said it here first.
Yeah, so if that ever happens. All right, and then KB, there's a video with Ronaldo with us yelling that he was telling everyone to step up, and Quadrado told him to settle down.
That was on the all. That was the all or nothing.
All or nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I remember Pirlo walking in, Chris, tranquilo. But yeah, so, and that's the thing. And one of my issues was with Dybala and Quadrado last season when the team was trying to qualify for the Champions League. The Dybala and Quadrado are like, "Hey, Allegri, can we have like an extra day off?" I'm like, "What?" So I think so. That might be it. So that was one thing that really annoyed me last season. All right, Niket, Juve always focuses on domestic success, and Milan seems as it was more focused on Europe. Juve, it seems that they want European success, but they won't move and play in that direction. So that's an interesting point, but I think I think Milan's players are better suited for cup competitions than a season long. Because like the thing is like Milan in the Champions League were very streaky. Like they weren't consistent. They weren't really ever consistent in the league. But granted, that's hard to say, guys, because Serie A from 2000 to 2010 was one of the most competitive leagues in Europe,
That's
even
true.
in the 90s.
Yep.
Because like, besides, we're not going to talk about the crappy blue team, but like post or pre Calciopoli, man, I don't think there was like consistent back to back winners. And like back then when everyone had like financial fortitude, like it was tough, man. Like the Inter 5P and the Juventus 9P, those are flukes, man. So like it's one of those things where that stuff's not really going to happen again. But like, yeah, like Milan, I think 2000, 2001, they were competing with Juve for the title. Juve just managed to squeak by and get the title, and then when Milan won the Champions League, and then I think Milan won the Scudetto in '96 that we won the Champions League title in. So Serie A was really competitive back then.
Yeah.
So like back then it was normal for the Champions League winner not to win the league because sometimes a lot of coaches or players were just like, "Hey, let's focus on this."
You see
So,
that in England, for
yeah.
instance. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah, it's just nowadays like, when we went to the Champions League final, we won the Coppa Italia in the league, so it's like but yeah, back then it wasn't as common.
nope.
All right. Del
I
Piero and Edved
this
with the management. Zidane is a coach. Zidane's not coming. I'm sorry. I
this is
don't.
fantasy at this Del
Yeah,
Piero Nedved
Zidane.
and Zidane.
So if you guys
Yeah,
watch G Just Juve or Zio Beppe, we call him Uncle Beppe on the channel because really good friend of ours. He always pops in our streams and always says hi, and we always say hi back to him.
just a good dude.
Just a really great guy. So G Just Juve guys, check him out. Uh, Zidane wants to wait for Deschamps to leave so he can coach France.
Yeah, that's the realistic
That's
situation right
that's
now.
what's going on right now. So
But
we
fantasy, I
tried.
mean, we love the dream.
We tried to get Zidane back. He didn't want to. I don't think Elkin would dismiss Agnelli. Juve and
See,
Agnellis are bound by
I would
history.
disagree because Elkin is the kind of
Elkin's
guy that ties a sweater around his neck.
yeah.
You know, like you can't trust those people.
Also, Elkin is married to Agnelli's sister, so technically it's still.
Yeah, and
So
Chefrin is the godparent of Agnelli's kid. Is that? I mean,
yeah, I think
this
it's
is
the other way
Italy.
around.
There's going to be drama.
Yeah, but yeah, the thing is Elkin won't dismiss Agnelli. The Agnellis are bound by history. Technically, Elkin's married into the Agnelli family, so he is.
Elkin's the one with all the money, though.
Yeah, Elkin is the one with all the money. So
He would have to get shifted around, kind of like how Bene came from Ferrari.
yeah, so
They
like
needed a change up there. So, I mean, they didn't. It's an internal switch, essentially, is what it is.
yeah, so something like that would happen where they'd probably push Agnelli to Ferrari, and then whoever over Elkin would be the chairman of Juve, something like that.
Yeah.
I don't think Del Piero is coming. He's loving LA too much. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. That is one of the things too. He's got his own restaurant in LA. It's
His
called
kids
Number
are
10. His kids are there.
Yeah, his kids are at that age where you don't just get up and move if you can avoid it.
Yeah. So again, it's gonna be one of those things where I think Agnelli would have to bury the hatchet as step one, to even have Del Piero think about it.
Yeah.
Don't say that. Juve is basically Agnelli, and they became Juve thanks to Lavactico. Yeah. Deschamps to Juve and Zidane to France. I don't know if Deschamps still has it. I don't know. I'm skeptical about that one. He coached us for that 1 year, but like other than that, I don't know.
That might be old and used up as well. I don't know if I completely buy in.
Because coaching a national team is different than coaching a club. Sounds like a telenovela. Yeah, that's true. Elkin is Andrea's cousin. Okay, cool.
Okay, very good. Thanks for the fact check.
Yeah, thank you. I just found you guys while scrolling through my YouTube homepage.
Oh,
yeah,
nice,
we're trying.
Perfect.
Thank you so much, man. Speaking of that, so like guys, as he's just mentioned it there, so we're trying to climb to 500 subs right now. We need you guys to like, comment, share the video, especially on the replay, guys. Just shoot some comments because the YouTube algorithm picks up engagement. So the more you guys do it, the more it'll push us. Because again, we want to sit here and have conversations with you guys, and then also, once we get to more subs, more viewers, and all that stuff, we're actually going to pull you guys, give you guys a link, and you guys can hop on and talk with us live, kind of like a radio show.
You know, speaking of that, do I still? Yeah, the barcode. I'll just throw this up here. I know it's a little small, especially if you're on your phone. The link is down below as well. That's our Discord. I mean, Discord is a live chat. If you want to talk about anything, get in contact with us. Of course, there's Twitter, Instagram. Those are all ways, but this is more communal, more for everyone just to engage. Also, it allows us to do screen share. We can do our own private voice chats. Man, we can even hop into a game of FIFA together and watch each other play. And I mean, that's something I love to do on my downtime is just boot up some FIFA and a play match too. And if you guys are down, and we'll play together, make a nice little community, which you guys are already. Like I said before, I mean, intelligent conversation. It's just so refreshing to see, and that's what we're trying to really encourage here. Is it's not so much just the rant, and yes, we'll rant and we'll have our emotions, especially hot off a game. But come, and this is why we come in typically 24 hours afterwards. So we're calmed down, level-headed. We've talked about some things offline, whatever, and just get it out intelligently. So thank you guys. We appreciate all of it, and yeah, just hit us up on Discord, Instagram, all the socials, whatever. We're there, and we will love to continue the conversation with you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're gonna get into the last story. I'm gonna read these like last couple comments before because we're way over time. But kudos to you guys. I mean, we appreciate the engagement. We're gonna try to answer everything. So Agnelli is the problem from David. He is sinking Juventus. Allegri isn't Juve quality. Yeah, no, it's a fair assessment. I don't disagree with that. I think the thing is, I think Agnelli is great on the marketing side outside of Juventus, but I think internally, I think there's some lags in his capabilities. So Niket also followed up saying Elkin's mom and Andrea's dad were siblings. Okay. So he's just like Elkin's like the protege or the golden child. And
Niket is like the family biographer, it sounds like.
Yeah.
He knows it all. Thank you, Niket.
It's like, send us a Twitter image and post it. All right. So he says, hosts, which coach would you choose if you can as a realistic option? So
it's so hard.
I'll give you this one. So right now, I would sit with Allegri until the end of the season to see how the market goes, as far as coach sackings or contract negotiations or et cetera. Because we're not going to pry anybody midseason. A realistic option, I would see how Juric, Italiano, and Gasparini perform at the end of the season. If they perform well, I would pick one of those three. They know the league. They understand the capabilities of the league. We give them better players. Let's see how they fare out.
Go ahead. And what do we mean by realistic? Like people available or just people generally that could come?
Not like Pep Guardiola or Klopp.
Yeah, but I would think, is Ancelotti pushing it too far?
Well, he said he's retiring after.
Yeah.
After
I don't know. I would like to. I know he's not the most favored manager out there, but I wouldn't mind. I think that type of coach is maybe needed at Juve. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know if that's very realistic. But in terms, you pretty much said the ones that we can get right now that, the most realistic. And that's the problem is I don't really want any of them. It's not going to, I don't think any of those fix the problem. We need a higher profile because of the profile of players. It's managing those people, that mentality, that ego. That's really what we need to get into.
And the thing is like, this would never happen, but I would love to just see how Mourinho would do, just for pure curiosity. But because he's coached Inter, he would never coach us.
That would be a good social experiment.
Yeah, it would be a social experiment. It wouldn't be something that I would like, I need to advocate for Mourinho. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see that. All right, and then what did you guys think of the Corva jeering on the squad? How will it affect players like Maratti and Fagioli?
They need this. They need to know.
They need to know.
I mean, it sucks, but that's how you mature. You have to get onto your highest of highs, you have to be at the lowest of your lows to know what it's like to fight back and get that fortitude.
Yep, and then for Maratti and Fagioli, it's a great learning experience for them. The fact that they're seeing people jeer them shows that, hey, you want, like, you've upset us as a fan base. That's like the fans telling these players, like, guys, we love you, but you're breaking our hearts. So depending on how Maratti and Fagioli take it, I think Maratti's going to take it and use it as fire, in my opinion. He's going to fuel himself with it. But if he does, awesome.
Let's hope.
All right. I hope they open. Yes. Respect is coming back, not by default. Yeah. Eyes.
Open eyes.
Landucci, the greatest coach of all time. Yeah. Who knows? We'll see. We'll see against Monza if he scores 5 goals.
The greatest coach that never coached.
Yeah. I've read way too much into the Agnelli family trend.
Wikipedia.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Zidane, of course, no brainer. So I think you just joined in, David. So one of the reasons why we haven't mentioned Zidane is because there's reports that Zidane is waiting for Deschamps to step down from France because he wants to coach France in at least a Euro and a World Cup. So it's going to be probably about a 5-year cycle. So,
but I mean, hypothetically, if we're going into that realm of possibility, then
yeah,
obviously Zidane would be definitely the top 3, I would think.
He's a good coach. It's just he doesn't want to come. That's the thing. I like Gasperini. Yeah,
I don't mind him either.
Yeah, Zidane is tried and tested. Yeah, we do agree with that. It's just he doesn't want to come. That's the only problem. 28 years Juve supporter, and I decided to fly from the US to Turin this year to watch PSG and Inter matches this year. I can't believe it.
That's a face palm for sure.
Come on, you never know. You might be a good luck charm. You never know that. I'm just saying, hey, you go in there and something amazing happens.
You never know. And
so, Jack, I'll tell you this, man. Going to the Allianz is probably one of the most amazing things. If you guys look at our videos, Kevin posts videos of being at the stadium and talking to the fans. Dude, going to Turin by itself, not even going to the game, is one of the best experiences you could have. It's even better if you're a Juventino.
And that's on my bucket list. I've been trying. Life's just gotten in the way. I'm going to do that eventually. But when I'm doing that, and I suggest, Jack, if you haven't looked these guys up already, around Turin, it's a fan club essentially. And our guy, Kevin, he's working with them. And, they get coach buses. They meet up at a cafe beforehand, get you the transportation. They just tuck you up. Maurizio, the guy that runs it, puts his WhatsApp number, just on social media and advertise it so you can contact him personally just to know what to do. Even if it's like what restaurant I go to. Look up around Turin. We've been working with them here and there, especially Kevin on the ground there. I will link afterwards the fan interviews from last week. So when this is on the replay, I'll do a little link thing so you can check some of that out.
Cool. KB wants Roger Schmidt as her next coach. He's not bad. 12 straight wins with Benfica. Yeah. So I think our friend Adrian's going to be upset if we do that. So, all right. So I think we got that.
Yeah, you got that one.
Yes, got that one again. Can Nedved coach us? Nope. Unfortunately, he's strictly a business guy. Never went and did his coaching classes. Yeah. Thanks for the discussion. Appreciate it, Lars. Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, like you said, Nedved doesn't have a license.
All right. So do we want to cover the Super Cup, or do you want to just save it for another time?
Yeah, I'm going to save that. I'm going to come tomorrow with a weekly recap because we have gone an hour. This is our longest video yet.
Our longest stream ever, and that's all because of you guys engaging us in the chat.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh, you stuff coming in late as well. How about Conacao? Am I saying that right?
Is he Porto's coach, Conacao?
Yeah, I don't know anything about him, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't either. So I'd have to look into him.
Yeah, we'll save that. Perhaps remind us to bring this up next time.
Comment it on the replay too, because we'll look at the comments and then we'll look at it too, and then we'll come in with another either a news or a coach video or even a live or something like that. But yeah, because Bun's keep it going. We've been streaming for an hour. And 45
I have
minutes.
A wife to get to as well. No, she understands, but got to keep her happy too.
Yeah. So hey, you guys kept us going for an hour and 45 minutes. So kudos to you guys for the engagement. But
honestly, usually we're an hour. Okay,
I know we're an hour. You guys kept us we're old guys. Leave us alone.
It's my bedtime.
It's my bedtime. People all got to go nap. Yeah,
it's 6:00. Not quite. But yeah, no, I will save the Super Cup thing for just the weekly recap. The one little thing we didn't talk about. We'll do that quickly, just to give you guys a few more minutes. I heard of a Benny joke where a fan had shouted out to him, will you fire Allegri, or can you fire Allegri?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I wish I could, and he just yelled it out, and he later backtracked, calling it just a joke. I don't know if I buy that excuse.
I think it was a Freudian slip. Because the thing is, he was chuckling about it too, and he was like, because there was also, I think I mentioned this, but he was like, are you gonna pay the next coach? because like in theory,
Yeah.
technically the cat, like, oh my god, it'd just be a financial nightmare. But
Yeah.
David says this is very difficult to say, but if losing to Monza will get Allegri sacked, I'm all in. This is certainly not my Juventus. So Agnelli said that if there is a disastrous result against Monza, there could be action taken. Right now, the so this was on Football Italia. It was a article that someone posted. Again, they don't have to take it for it being 100% factual, just discussion topic. They're looking at Allegri's fitness staff, and they're planning on firing Allegri's fitness staff this week. They're looking at gutting some of his assistant coaches. First is the training and conditioning staff because they've been absolutely terrible. So
Didn't we just get new guys?
We did, and now we're getting newer guys.
Wild.
So that is one thing there.
And for this, yeah. So, correct me if I'm wrong. I can look into it for you if you want, but I don't think you have to necessarily buy the tickets. I think that's all they're offering to sell, but you can still like hang out with them. They tailgate in a sense. They hang out in a group beforehand, before the game, just drinking some beers, eating some hot dogs, what have you, whatever concessions they got there. So yeah, you don't necessarily need to buy that ticket, but you can still kind of hook up with them if you wanted to, and or at the very least, we can hook you up with Kevin.
Yeah, I was gonna say you can DM us on Twitter, and then we can try to put you in contact with Kevin, so you can at least get like a fan photo and do like an interview with Kevin.
Yeah, absolutely. If you want a fan interview, we can even get you a video. But yeah, Twitter or Discord would be the best for me, and probably for you.
All right. Yeah. They that's what they're looking at. They're looking at a full revamp of this again, even though allegedly they did this at the beginning of the season. But they're saying that the staff is looking at, or the management is looking at firing the fitness and conditioning staff, some of Allegri's assistants. So essentially, it's if we can't fire Allegri, we'll fire the people around him.
Yeah, I mean, something has to move. I suppose that's what happens in these situations. Something gets fired. Yeah, I just thought the new coaching or the new medical staff was going to be one of the positives, but I suppose not this time.
Nope.
Yeah, I hope we get good physios. Yeah, I know what it's like to have bad physios. It sucks.
Oh, tell me about it. Oh my goodness. I used to have a strength coach that would give you a list of the movements to do, and he would just sit and play on his phone and be like, "Hey, you want to coach me through this movement?"
Yeah,
no.
Hate those.
He was like busy on Tinder. I'm like, oh, come on, man.
Yeah. You can also tell when my dogs are getting fed because you can hear all the like.
Yep.
Through my mic. Yeah, sorry about that.
But I say, what do you think, David? You think we should call it?
Yeah, I believe so. I'm gonna do a weekly recap probably tomorrow evening when I'm home from work, just to tidy up the loose ends we didn't get to cover. I mean, you kept us totally engaged this time. Awesome. We've mentioned it a few times, but I'm just gonna hammer it. Like, you guys are awesome, so thank you.
Yeah, we love you guys.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm hoping after I shut this down that my subscribers come up in like the next couple days or so. We can maybe announce the shirt giveaway. I'm hoping. But I know a lot of you already have subscribed, so I thank you for that. And if you're catching us on the replay, thanks for doing that. That actually helps us in a sense even more, the way the algorithm works. So just thank you to everyone. And like and subscribe. And Dash, I got to play the music.
Is it time for the outro where I whisper some sweet nothings into your guys' ears? Oh, sure here we go. All right, everybody. Even though we had the disappointment of Benfica, we still came on stream and we had some fun. Talk some coaches, talk some tactics. Maybe Vlahovic will grow up here and become an adult. No, I'm just kidding. We love Vlahovic. But with that being said, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in for our longest stream ever. Please like, subscribe, join our Discord, comment on the video's replay, just so we can push it to the algorithm. Enjoy the show, enjoy the replay. All the people that are watching this on the replay on your drive home from work or wherever. Thank you so much. Have a good night, and we'll see you guys for Monza pregame and postgame. Adios.
Thanks, guys. Catch you in a couple days.